Hello again everyone, and welcome to Windleshaw, which is on the outskirts of St. Helens. A couple of weeks ago I put a video on the channel about the World of Glass Museum in St. Helens. I'll put a link to that up here somewhere for those of you that want to find out a little bit more about St. Helens' links to the glass industry. But Windleshaw, I did mention it in that particular video. If you watch it, you'll see that I visited the Friends Meeting House in St. Helens and did say that it was the oldest building in the borough apart from one, and that's the one we're going to have a look at today. And it's Windleshaw Chantry, which dates right back to the beginning of the 15th century. I believe authorization was given for them to build a chantry here in 1415, and the building dates from shortly after that time. And it's amazing that it has survived all these years. And it is now in the cemetery. As you might be able to see as I pan you around, it's part of the municipal cemetery. So we're going to go and have a look. It is a particularly grey, cold and quite damp morning. Now, for that reason, I suspect that black and white might be better. I am going to shoot everything in colour. But a while ago, one of my subscribers, I think it might have been Steve, one of the Steves, did say they'd like a little bit of insight into how I shoot black and white. So what I'm going to do, the originals will be in colour, but I suspect that with the subject matter in mind, black and white might be the way to go, particularly on such a grey day as this. We've still got some autumn colour in the leaves, but the majority of the leaf cover has now fallen. So the colour's gone rather drab, and of course on a grey morning like today, nothing gets lit up by sunlight. Anyway, stay with me because we are just across the way from the chantry, and I'll tell you about that once we get there. So here we are. It's the weekend after Remembrance Weekend, Armistice Day, so you can quite clearly see they had a couple of services here. And behind the second memorial cross is the remains of the chantry. So we're going to take a closer look at that. I'll set the camera up and tell you about what I've brought with me today and how we're going to tackle this particular subject matter. Well, so here we are, the chantry just behind me, and today I've come out with the Sony A7 Mark II with 3 different manual focus vintage lenses. This is the first time I've used the A7 II in anger, so to speak, and quite looking forward to it. For those of you that's seen the video that I did about my new video exploits, you'll realise that I swapped, for want of a better expression, the original A7 Mark I for this Mark II version very recently. So I'm really very pleased with this. It's an absolute minter. The A7 II is deeper than the Mark I, but it also has a more substantial grip. And the 3 lenses I brought out with me are the 50mm 1.7 Minolta Rockor, the 200mm f4 rock ore, and also a 28mm 2.8 from Tokina. So we're going to see what we can do with this wonderful building behind me. For those of you that don't know about a chantry, it is a small building, religious building, intended to be used for the singing of hymns and liturgies during a funeral for individuals. And as you can see, there are a lot of people buried within this original compound, the oldest part of the cemetery. And I do believe there is one particular gentleman very famously buried here, and he is the founding father of glassmaking in St. Helens. I can't remember his name, except that he's foreign. I'll put the details down below. But right now, it's time we did some photography. Okay, so as I said, I am going to be shooting in colour and probably converting to monochrome in post-production. If I can, I want to try and exclude the more modern headstones. Now with the 50mm that's going to be difficult. I'm going to wander over to my left. Apologies if I roam out of shot. Right, let's put it on. Aperture priority. ISO is 100. I think I've got C2 programmed as manual focus assist to magnify. That looks pretty good. That's a very tight crop though. Very tight. So, gonna wander back in front of you guys and left a bit more. That's a little bit better, a little bit more space around top and bottom of the tower. So that's a 500th f2. I knew all along really that a 28 was going to be a better lens to use here. When you visit places like this, you kind of get a feeling for it. So let's fit that. Last time I used this was over in Neston, down on the marshes. So it's about time it had an outing. Now I am going to boost the ISO, I think, here, because I'm going to boost it up to 200 because it is really quite grey and grim, and this is a 2.8 lens, of course, so not as fast as the 50mm. I think somewhere about here should be quite good. Oh, that's much better. Okay. I'm afraid these horizontal headstones are incredibly slippy this morning. So I've just changed the position of the pocket 3 because I want to go inside what was the interior of the chapel. Because what I want to do now with this shot is to pretty much exclude the top of the tower. I just want to focus on the bottom section, that doorway and upper window. That's rather nice, quite like that. Now you may not be able to see it on the Pocket 3, but immediately through the doorway and beyond the wall there is a cross which is perfectly framed. And what I think I might do is to take out the 200mm lens that I've got with me and see what I can compose using that. I wasn't expecting to be able to use that really at all, as he totters across the headstones. So, just going to remove this and exchange it for the 200. These Minolta Rockall lenses are fantastic, both in terms of build quality and optical construction. So, just position myself dead centre, or at least not dead centre of the tower, but so that the cross in the distance is dead centre. Yeah, that's going to be good, but I've got a decision to make here, and I'm going to hedge my bets and go both ways. Oof. Shutter priority for sure. ISO is going to be set to auto because we've not got enough light here to support a good shutter speed. So, speed of... I do tend to stick to that old adage, shutter speed equal or higher than the focal length of the lens. So 200mm, I'm going to shoot at a 250th. I'm quite happy to leave the lens wide open, and it's indicating that the ISO is going to be 2005. Now for that shot I focused on the archway. Next up we're going to focus on the cross in the distance, like so. Now you never know, although those were both handheld shots, because I didn't move my position a great deal, if at all, it may well be possible to do a composite of the two images, so that I've got both the cross in the far distance and the archway in focus. We'll see. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, I don't know. Fantastic building. At least it appeals greatly to me. So now I'm going to come back around to you and move on. That's if I don't go A over T on these slippy headstones. So now, I don't think I'm going to be able to make use of the 200mm much more. I've done a couple of close-up shots. I might do one or two of the headstones, but I think this is probably a better angle to photograph the chantry from, with this old cross base in the foreground. So I brought out the 28mm. I'm not sure whether you can see, but down here somebody's placed, I think it's it's some sort of animal, whether it's a stoat or something like that, or maybe just a wild cat. But it's quite nice that that's there. And there are some good inscriptions on this old cross here. 1627 is one that I can see, so you're not talking 19th century. Anyway, what I want to do is to get a shot of, let's go back to aperture priority. Want something relatively small, so f8, and I want to try and keep this animal in the foreground, so I'm going to focus just beyond that. In fact, I'll focus on the base of the cross so I can get the tower in as well as the animal and the cross in the foreground. Quite like that. And I may well do one a little bit further back. I want to try and keep some of that tree cover in the frame behind the chantry if I can. And this time we're going to focus more on the middle ground beyond the cross. Somewhere about there. We're down at f8. 60th at f8. I'm happy with that. Now, looking at these images and thinking about the situation that I'm in today, we have actually got now some light wispy clouds and blue sky beyond. Now, whether I can pull any of that back in post remains to be seen. Of course, you can replace the sky these days. I may end up doing that, but only for dramatic effect. I think some of these are going to be higher contrast, monochrome images, crushed blacks, that kind of thing. HDR effect, I don't know, but I've just got a feeling it's going to be one of those subjects and one of those days where that kind of treatment benefits the subject matter. Now I've moved back even further this time and a little bit more to the right hand side. I think you can see from the pocket 3 that we've now got the memorial cross with the wreaths on it on the right hand edge of the frame and the old village cross on the left hand side. So I want to try and get that in as best I can. I have the 28mm on. Just let's see what we're gonna get. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Magnify the image. Make sure we are there or thereabouts, focusing wise. Pretty good. I'm going to shoot this at f8. Landscape or horizontal format rather than vertical. And that's giving me a 60th. Got a feeling the sky is going to blow out on that, but we'll see what we can do in post. The day is brightening up. We've got sunshine. Now I'm hoping you can see this. I'll walk in and point it out to you what I want to take a photograph of now. Because we've got sun streaming in, I'm going to do a couple of shots, one with the 28mm. And what I want to do is to focus on this very faded and quite sad looking bunch of plastic flowers on this headstone and throw the background more or less completely out of focus. So let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to use 2.8, focus on the flowers. Like so. Keep the chantry building in the background and framing it either side. I've got a cross and I've got two crosses actually. The remembrance cross in the background is mainly hidden by this one closer to me. So that's with a 28. And as a comparison, I'm going to do the same shot but with a 50. I'm going to move back quite a bit, but it's the same process. Focus on the foreground flowers. Like so. And bump. We'll have a look at those. Oh, now got a soggy knee. There you go. It's worth it, I hope. Oh, well, there you are. My first visit here, and I'm absolutely delighted to have found the place. And in all honesty, I can't remember ever having visited a chantry before. And contrary to what I said at the beginning, not only was it authorised and consecrated in 1415, it was already here in 1415. It suffered badly, of course, during the Reformation years, and it was also badly damaged during the English Civil War because the nasty old parliamentarians stripped the lead off the roof to use for musket balls. Ah, dear pesky parliamentarians. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed a look at the chantry, and it's been a real pleasure for me to come out here today. It's brightened up quite nicely. We've got watery, wintry sun over to my right hand side. But I think I've got enough record of the building itself. I think a lot now is going to depend on how I interpret these shots in post. But I will put them all up. I'll put them straight out of camera, and then at the end of the video I will put you the edited versions up and you can let me know which ones you prefer. Well, there we are. I hope you liked some of those edited shots as well as the ones straight out of camera. But for now, from a wintry but really very pleasant chantry on the outskirts of St. Helens, enjoy your photography, and I will see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.